Aloha and good morning. Matt Dela Cruz here with the Winning Minds Group, part of the John Maxwell team. And welcome to Mondays with Matt. Happy Monday to you. I hope you had a great weekend and looking forward to another extraordinary week this week as we kick off a new week and also we start a new month. That's right. We are now in the 7th month of 2018, July. Let's make this month the best month ever. How about that? You can if you believe you can. Which kind of brings me in a little bit what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to talk today about environment. This past week I was doing a teaching lesson on the law of environment with my mastermind group out of eastern Wisconsin, and it happened to be the law of environment. Out of the 15 invaluable laws of growth, we were going through that particular law. You know, you can read a book and you can read a chapter over and over and over again. I know that particular law has been at least 16, maybe 17 times. I know for a fact within the past year that every time I read it, I get something out of it, which is good. Because if you're getting something new out of what you're reading or what you're seeing, that means you're growing to a different comprehension level. Because most of us will read to read, but we're not reading intentionally to get. And that's the difference of it, how you can be more impactful by being intentional when you read, being intentional when you listen, and being intentional on what you're doing. When you do that, it takes it to a completely different level. You'll skip by so many people when you think that way on the learning part. But anyway, we were talking about the law of environment, and it kind of brings it up to today, because when we look at environment today, and there's really two types of environment. We have an inside environment and we have an outside environment. In other words, the physical world and we have the internal world. And how we are in the internal world gives us a different perception on where it is on the outside world. But this is where we have to be careful, because the internal world is based on your beliefs, your thoughts, your feelings, and your emotions. That's the internal world. The physical world, the outside world, are the things that are around us, the environment that we're around, the people that we're around. And it's almost impossible for us to continue our growth journey unless we have people, positive people in the environment. So for example, let's just say you live in a negative household. At home it's negative, it's a bunch of stress. But then when you go to work, it's positive. Some people, they live in a positive environment at home, and then they go to work to a negative environment. Think about it. The physical, you mentally and physically are in a positive state at home, but the minute you go to the outside world or you turn on the radio, the media, regardless of what you watch or listen to, we're listening and we're influenced by the negative outside world. So in order for us to be successful, we got to make sure we tune out the negative. But here's where it starts. You have to be aware of what your environment's all about. Then you have to intentionally block it out. Because if you're not intentional about blocking it out, you're going to be influenced so easily. But what I've learned is when you have your core, your inside world, when your beliefs, your feelings, your thoughts, and your emotions, they're congruent with everything that you believe and your faith, that's the most important part. Because it doesn't matter what environment you step into, your core is solid. But you're aware of when you step into a negative environment because you can feel it, and then you know whether or not to choose. The hard thing about it is identifying it. That's why you really got to work on it. I always talk about this: train, discipline, condition the mind, the internal part. Because when you are in that negative environment, you know how to cope with it and you know how to step out. Otherwise, you're going to be easily influenced. And then when you're influenced by the negativity in the outside world, and then you go home, you bring the negative thoughts, feelings, emotions, and beliefs, you bring them home with you, and you create that negativity. We've all been around that. So you need to be strong with that. So I want you to think about that this week. Look at the environment that you're in. The best thing I can tell you is this: your environment, outside world and inside world, that's your choice. You're strong enough. You can choose that. You have the power to choose to walk away, choose to stay in. So I want you to think about that this week. Look at the environment you are. Look at your inside environment, your outside environment. Look at your home environment. How is it? Turn it into the positive. Bring your family into that. Create that positive so you become unbeatable and unbreakable. So until next week, live with passion, live intentionally, and let's make sure that we create and make the choices for the right environment. Thanks so much. You make it a great week, and I'll talk to you next week. Aloha.